Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be able to share with you today. What a fun and appropriate topic to talk about for National Nutrition Month. Did you know that that is a thing? Every March is National Nutrition Month. And so I'm excited to be able to share with you all today. For those of you that may not know me, my name is Andrea Bond. I am a certified health coach and wellness educator. I have been partnered with the Juice Plus company for over 18 years now, and I live in San Antonio. And I'm really, really excited to talk to you about the topic of health and simple solutions today because I really feel it's the most important topic we could ever talk about. If you think about it, without health, nothing else really matters. You can't perform at work, you can't lead a team if you're in a leadership role in a company. Um, you can't enjoy family time. You can't take that vacation. There's actually a saying that a healthy man or woman has many wishes, but a sick woman only one, and that is good health. And so I'm really focused today on sharing some great health hacks, what I have learned, kind of a compilation of the information I've gathered in terms of health and wellness and living our best quality life as long as possible, and what's really kept my family healthy. And so hopefully you'll pick up a lot of great tips in this conversation today. And so no better place to start than with this picture of my family, because this is where my story begins. This is actually a picture of my daughter's wedding just about 2 years ago now. And I share it to ask you to focus on the woman standing on my left on the screen. That is my mother. She's leaning on my sister. And my mother was actually diagnosed with Parkinson's at the age of 40. She is now, God, goodness, 75, 77. I need to know how old my mother is. But anyway, the point is she has been dealing with illness and disease for over 35 years of her life. And my grandmother had Parkinson's. And so once I got married and I started a family, it's kind of interesting as we start to have kids, how much we begin to really pay attention to nutrition and think about genetic tendencies in the family. And so I was starting to think like, well, grandma had it, mom had it. I wasn't quite sure what it meant for me, but what about my kids? And so I went to the neurologist with my mom at one point in time and I asked him, I said, listen, what's happening here? And more importantly, what can I do to avoid it? And his answer was quite simply, you're probably next. We can run a genetic test. And that was it. And it was incredibly defeating. So then in 2006, when I was introduced to the Juice Plus company, I was a busy mom of the three kids you see here, and they were ranging in age from 8 to 14. And we were just that family, like everybody else, going too many directions, too many activities and sports, and too many fast food drive-throughs. I was also exercising faithfully, but more for stress relief and weight management. I was not paying attention to our family's nutrition. And so Juice Plus really became the catalyst, aligning with the company and getting the opportunity to get educated on the power of food as medicine, if you will. And so my hope is that this is super empowering to you too, and that you see, because the truth of the matter is we all have genetic tendencies, whether it is Parkinson's like me, or cancer, or heart disease, or another disease. Autoimmune conditions are running rampant. So all of us have something in our history, but it doesn't mean you have to be a victim. There's a study called epigenetics in which it really, the simplest explanation is genes are like light switches. So quite likely I have the Parkinson's gene, but my diet and lifestyle choices can keep that light or that gene turned off. But before we talk about all the good things we can do, I just want to touch on chronic disease and kind of just look at the facts. The facts are that we are one of the sickest countries in the world, which is absolutely insane when you think how advanced we are. And not only are we sick as adults, but we're making our children sicker earlier in life. I'm over 50, actually over 55. And so I can say I don't remember a friend in school who battled cancer. You look nowadays, all major cities have pediatric hospitals devoted to children's cancer. That's a scary thing. Another statistic is by age 12, the majority of children have the beginning stages of hardening of the arteries. You can even give, statin drugs to children under 10 years old these days. That's not right. And then as adults, consider this, 1 in 3 adults will get cancer in their lifetime, right? Think about who's on here listening now, and that is a third of us. Type 2 diabetes, it is now called the silent pandemic due to the impact it's having on public health. So it leads to so many serious health conditions like heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, blindness, nerve damage. And, what was that last pandemic like for us all? We know we don't even want to hear that word, and yet we're not paying attention to the fact that, as I'll get to this chat GPT thing in a second, but 90% of it is preventable. And so, it is diet and lifestyle that makes an impact. And as I was preparing for this presentation, I wanted to know how much so. So go to ChatGPT and look at this. 30 to 50% of cancers are related to diet and lifestyle. I already touched on diabetes. 90% could be avoided by dietary and lifestyle choices. And then over half of modern illnesses are preventable. And I love how ChatGPT gets to know you and knows that I've been a huge proponent of Juice Plus for so many years. And it even says, this is why your focus on health and wellness with Juice Plus is so valuable. It directly supports disease prevention. Who doesn't love affirmation that they're on the right track? Okay, so just to go back a little more in time and assure you that this is not a new conversation we're having here or a new concept. We could go to BC and the life of Hippocrates when he said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And then Thomas Edison, he basically said that the doctor of the future will no longer treat with drugs, but prevent disease with nutrition. Time magazine in 2003 says the news isn't that fruits and vegetables are good for you, it's that they're so good for you they could save your life. And our government, if you remember the days of the food pyramid, they are long gone. The current recommendation is My Plate. You can go check this out online. Half of every plate that you consume is fresh, raw fruits and vegetables. Think about what our society is probably doing. Half of that plate is meat, proteins, right? We're a protein obsessed, and obviously protein is super important in our diet, but we need to be consuming more fruits and vegetables, bottom line. And so what do we do as a society? I think we've turned to vitamins, and the evidence of that is in stores everywhere. You go and you see aisles and aisles of vitamins. But if I could ask you to think for a second, simple thought process here. I'm all about just really thinking in a simplified way that, wait a minute, if vitamins were the answer, why is disease getting worse? Why are we not improving as a health society? We have all the vitamins, and the answer is just this: science cannot duplicate nature. This image here of the apple is the perfect example. What you see is an apple, and all those tiny words you can't read, those are 400 of the nutrients. There are 10,000 phytonutrients or plant-based nutrients in the average apple. So you would have 25 pages, if you had a label for your apple, 25 pages of lists just like that. Now go to the right side there and look at your supplement label for your vitamin. It's fragmented, it's synthetic, it's made in a lab, it does not have the synergy of nutrition. That is why it's not that, we're taking vitamin C tablets and mega dosing on them. And interestingly, talk to a plumber if you have one in your life, or call one to the house and ask them what clogged septic tanks, or that person that has the job of cleaning the porta potties, what's found at the bottom. We're just pumping our bodies full of vitamins that we have zero idea if they do any good or even get absorbed, and yet they're really ineffective. So that 5 milligrams of vitamin C in that apple, along with all those other 9,999 nutrients, are far more effective for good health. Apple a day probably sounds familiar right now. But then that, megadose vitamin C supplement. And so the bottom line is we do not have vitamin deficiencies. We have whole food deficiencies. We're just not eating the foods we should be eating. We're eating the standard American diet. And think about what that acronym stands for, if you can, SAD, SAD. It is. It's ultra processed, it's packaged, it's loaded with preservatives, and it's wreaking havoc on our health. And so enough of the negative. Let's get some solutions on the table so you can have lots of options for things you can do to live healthier. So if you have the desire, you might want to grab a pen and paper and take a few notes. And we're going to kind of do a day in the life, starting at the grocery store and as you're purchasing your food. I've got a few of my top tips here for you. The first is to shop the perimeter of the grocery store. I don't know about you, but years ago, I was the type of person, I always park in the same couple lanes in the parking lot, walk in the same door, and I'd work my way across the store. When I learned this simple health hack, I began paying attention and shopping the perimeter. So make a conscious effort to go around the outside of the store. That is where the live food is. And then my challenge to you would be to get 80% of your cart's content from those sections. And then the aisles, the package, the process, the long expiration dates, right? Full of preservatives. Only allow 20% of your grocery cart to contain those items. Yes, you might need a few, but you should not be surviving on a diet from the center aisles. And so just a simple way that you can hack your health. Another is label reading. And this one could be a whole conversation in and of itself, but I'll give you a couple of my top tips in label reading. First and foremost, read it. Look at the ingredients. And if you have like multiple things that you can't pronounce, that's a pretty simple indication that that's not a good food for your body. Another great rule of thumb is 10 or more ingredients, kind of is that tipping point of ultra processed, overly processed. So shoot for things with less ingredients. And then I want to touch on sugar on a label because I feel personally it's something that has a huge negative impact on our health. Think about the diabetes conversation we just had. And yet it's not labeled in a way that we can relate. So it's labeled in grams. And so I don't know about you, but I don't have a visual for grams. If somebody says, oh, that has 40 grams of sugar, that doesn't register much with me. So rule of thumb, tip that you can apply, a simple equation is 4 grams equals 1 teaspoon of sugar. And I'm going to show you this live. So here's a Coke. And I'm not picking on anybody in particular, but we know this has sugar in it, right? But can you really visualize the fact that it has 65 grams of sugar? No, but look what I did for educational purposes. I did the math, and this is all, we're still going. I'm trying to get to the end here. This is all the sugar that is in that Coke that is entering our body. Why is diabetes a pandemic? That is 16 teaspoons of sugar. So that is really something powerful that you can do in paying attention to sugar and reducing it in your diet. And my last health hack here is the Yucca app. If you're not using it, best thing you can do. I absolutely love it. You can download it for free. It uses the camera on your phone. So you just take your phone and you scan the barcode of food in the grocery store, especially, right? This is the stuff we're talking about in those middle aisles where we're going to have stuff that's really not serving our health. And it's going to rate it from on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being like excellent, perfect. And then it's also going to kind of categorize it as bad, good, excellent. And it will give you a list of why it rated that way, what was harmful in it, what's an ingredient you might want to avoid, and even give you options like this would be a better brand to choose. And it's an independent app, no food companies fund it. So super useful, and it has transformed how we shop for our groceries. Okay, let's move on to breakfast. We're talking breakfast, we're on the go. Our society's on the go. Whether you're getting kids to school or heading off to work, whatever it may be, you need simple solutions. You may not like to eat right away in the morning. You may need to eat while you're getting yourself ready or prefer to eat once you get to the office. So these are my 2 favorites. Overnight oats, such a simple thing that you can make on the weekends and grab and go. Put them in a mason jar, grab a spoon, you've got breakfast. Anything. I have a ton of overnight oat recipes I'm happy to share with anybody, but anything like this, chia seed pudding, overnight oats, I like to add protein powder to it just to amp up the nutritional benefit, help me be full longer. And then I am a smoothie addict. I have a smoothie every single morning for almost 17 years now. I love to grab that blender and see how healthy I can make my breakfast. I always throw kale and spinach in. So if you have never made smoothies or you're making them and not putting that in, highly recommend it. Yes, it will change the color of your smoothie, but it will not change the flavor. Going to pack it with nutrition. Another great way is seeds like hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. They are loaded with protein and fiber is critical for our gut health, healthy microbiome. You've probably heard about that. And then, of course, you can look at spices like turmeric and cinnamon and fruits. And I actually have a recipe book I'm happy to share with anybody who might want it. You can just reach out to me personally. But this is so easy. Oftentimes, I just put it in a to-go cup. If it's going to take me a little bit longer, I'm going to drink it a little bit later. So it's, insulated, and I can have that smoothie and sip on it for literally hours. Wait till you get to the office. I work from home, so most of the time I am sipping my smoothie while I'm looking at email or such, but two easy options for breakfast. Okay. And so if you are interested in the protein powder that I recommend, I'm a huge proponent of Juice Plus Complete. I think a plant-based protein is a much better option than whey. Whey is actually a dairy component. It's made from the byproduct of cheese. And so in that regard, it can be inflammatory for people. It can create some gut issues. And so first and foremost, Complete is delicious, and it's not chalky, and it's a nice balance. We don't need to make a dose protein. So it's got 13 grams of proteins, but it's also got fiber. So that's going to stabilize our blood sugar. It's going to fill us up longer. It's got prebiotics. That's another topic for another day. And I love that Complete has been studied. It was actually researched by MD Anderson in a study on ovarian cancer patients, and it has NSF certification, really paying attention and acknowledging, basically fact checking, is what's on the label in the product and is it pure and 100% clean. And so to me, anything that's researched, right, that's more friendly to my gut is a better option, and it's really versatile. Beyond shakes, I do waffles and pancakes and muffins and cookies and brownies and pudding and so many yummy things, Rice Krispie treats that you can do with this, just ways to still enjoy treats, but improve the nutritional content of them. Okay, so moving on to lunch real quickly. You see from this that I'm a huge proponent of meal prep. So there's a saying that those who fail to plan to fail. So if you're at the office or on the go and you don't have a lunch plan, most likely you're going to end up in a drive-through or somewhere that's not going to serve your health. And so I love that, my daughters, that millennial generation, Gen Z, they are on this. They are doing things. My girls meal prep every weekend. I am so proud of that. I wish I had this good habit years ago when I was that young and really understood the power of packing that healthy lunch. And if you want variety, make a few things, stick them in the freezer, pull them out, take them to work. But it's planning your nutritional content out. And another great option is salad in a jar. Anybody can host one of these events. I'm happy to guide you in that. I've done them periodically with my neighbors and friends. Everybody brings a couple chopped salad ingredients. You create an assembly line, use mason jars, and you've got a salad that you have on the go, massive nutrition, so easy to dump on a plate, even eat out of the jar. And really, again, is that planning component that gets more produce into your body. So let's talk snacking, because I think everybody does it. I don't know about you, but 2, 3 o'clock, like I'm kind of like, okay, I want a little extra something. So these are my top 3 go-tos. First and foremost, mixed nuts. Okay. Raw. I'm going to say that anytime you apply heat to something, you actually diminish the nutritional content. So just like with fruits and vegetables, cooked is not as good as raw. Same thing with nuts. So I'm also going to dispel the misbelief, if you will, that nuts are something to avoid because they're high in fat. Yes, they are, but they're the good fats. Fat is not evil. It's the kind of fat. They're unsaturated fats. They're healthy fats. And fat is a component of every cell in our body, and it's our energy source. So we desperately need it. And just side note, to the low fat craze, if you lived through that years back, do you know what they used to really get flavor back in, because they were taking the fat out because everything wanted to label low fat? They used sugar. And now look where we are with diabetes again. So you overload on sugars. So don't think a food group is bad. It's it's the choices you make. Another option is protein bites. I love them. I make them and I do them in batches and stick them in the freezer. And so I can grab 2 or 3 put them in a baggie in my purse. So no matter where I'm at when I'm running out, I'm not running to a vending machine or through a drive-through. I have something that fills me up that tastes delicious. I mean, my favorite flavors are like lemon poppy seed, pina colada, chocolate peanut butter. You never go wrong with that combination. And you don't even have to roll them. Like, do it the way I do it. I don't want to take the time to roll them. I just spread them out in a pan and cut them up, stick them in the freezer. Such an easy go-to. And then nutritious drinks. I want to touch on this because sometimes I think it's mindless snacking that we do. We're not even really hungry, right? We're just like, it's the afternoon and I want something different. And so I want to share with you what's been really great for me in this. In fact, I'm drinking one right now. This is my Luminate. And before I was going to share this presentation with you, I wanted to make sure I'm thinking clearly. And so these are two things that Juice Plus Company offers, and everything they do is plant-based. So it is a mental energy drink. It's a combination of 7 plants that are nootropics that help with like mental clarity, and then adaptogens, which help with mood. So it's a way to improve your concentration, help clear that brain fog if you're having, a day where you're tired from lack of good sleep or just feeling sluggish, or it's gray outside as it is right now here in San Antonio. Whatever it may be, it's like that little pick-me-up that you can take and give yourself that brain boost, if you will. And then superfood powders. Oh my gosh, I've only had this for 2 weeks and I'm like, how did I ever live without this? I love this because they have taken 30 different fruits, vegetables, and berries, dehydrated, right? Remember, the dehydration of fruits and vegetables is a super simple way to get a lot of them into your diet. And they put them in a powder in a stick. And so you just dump it in water and shake it or stir it up. And you see it right there. It is not artificial coloring because it's got 20 different fruits and berries in addition to 10 greens in it. It's not artificial flavoring. The flavor is delicious. It's kind of like a cherry lime or punch. And my only problem with it is I'm trying to limit how many I drink because I love it. But again, such a great way. If you're like me, I really try and get my water in each day. And so by late afternoon, I'm kind of waterlogged and tired of just drinking water. And so this is such a simple solution to literally shake it up and get a different flavor in. That's just doing so much good for my body. Okay, let's move on to dinner time. Got 3 quick tips for you here. Kind of along the planning component. Don't avoid fast food. That's all I can say. Don't go through the drive-through. Or if you do, this isn't about perfection, but progress. If you're going through the drive-through 3 nights a week, maybe take it down to 1. Small changes will add up to great health over time. But I saw this visual years ago, and so I'm going to share it with you because this is what literally has kept me from going through a drive-through for years. This is my cheeseburger that I bought at a fast food restaurant. Oh, and it came with fries. This is 16 years old. Okay, here's the bun. It broke in a move, but look at the bun. There is no mold on the bun. Look at the beef. There's the beef. Remember, where's the beef? It's still here 16 years later. Bugs aren't eating this as it sits on a shelf in my house. And there's your cheese slice. This is loaded with preservatives. This is not food that's going to nourish your body. And so do whatever you can to avoid fast foods. Another idea is to add a nightly or a weekly, I should say, meatless meal. So a lot of people like to do like meatless Mondays. Try it once. And if you get, in the habit of doing it once a week, maybe you up it to twice a week. It's just a great way to get more plants in your body. And there are great sources of plant protein. Our 2 favorites at home are tofu and tempeh. And so just another way to kind of amp up your nutrition. And we really are way too fixated on meats in our society. Yes, they're a great source of protein, but we don't need, if you remember that plate I showed you a few minutes ago, it was just a quarter, but that's not generally how we're eating. So that's a great health hack. And then I want to encourage you to stop eating about 3 hours before bedtime. That's kind of the rule of thumb. Think about it. That mindless snacking, what you're grabbing at night, it's not a healthy snack. I bet you're not grabbing an apple between dinner and bedtime. I bet you're grabbing something else that isn't as good for you. So this is a double win because you're going to be avoiding some of those things that are less healthy for your body. And you're going to let your body do what it's supposed to do when you sleep. Think about it. If you eat before you go to bed, You lay down, you close your eyes and go to sleep, but your body and your digestive tract, they are having to fire and digest that food. They aren't getting to rest and restore, and that's what sleep is supposed to be for us. So, super important and powerful habit that you can adopt. And so, bottom line, whatever meal we're talking about, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacking, food is medicine, and a rainbow diet is essential for good health. And so I love this visual. One, it's so pretty and colorful. But let's just look at a couple things real quickly. Yellow foods. Did you know they help lower cholesterol? They help prevent cancer. They help with joints. Purples improve memory health, improve cellular rejuvenation. Hey, ladies, that includes our skin too. Beauty from the inside out by what we eat. And greens, right? Immune system, preventing cancer, protection of our stomach health, healthier bones. Food is medicine. And you notice, like, for instance, in the yellow category, there's not pizza and French fries. It's plants, it's fruits and vegetables, and we need as many as we can be getting in our diet. And so this is why I have fallen in love with Juice Plus and will never go a day without it, nor will my family. My three kids started on this again when they were in elementary and middle school, and they are adults, and one is even a parent, and I have a grandson, and this is his daily nutrition too, an 11-month-old child that's not had a sick visit. That's the power of good nutrition. So all these other things we're talking about, they're awesome. And I hope you incorporate some of them. But this is the simplest foundational way to improve your nutrition, and good health comes from daily habits. You can eat a salad in a jar once a week. You can make a protein ball or, some energy bites once a month. But yes, they help, but they're not going to be the consistency that your body needs to be fueled properly. And I hope you see the rainbow here. This is eating the rainbow. What this company has done is worked with farmers to grow this produce to peak nutrient content, and then they pick it and they dehydrate it and they put it in capsules, in chewables, or that new superfoods powder that you just saw. So it is like supercharging your health with a rainbow diet every day. And we're actually recommended. There's a great documentary on Netflix called Health Hacks. There's a subtitle to that. I can't remember right now, but it recommends 30 different plants per week. You can even get like a chart, and variety is everything. You can't just buy the same pieces of produce and expect all the different health benefits that all those colors provide. So variety is critical. And this is a way, if you have the shakes too, you're getting nearly 50 plants into your body on not even a weekly, but pretty much a daily basis. But more importantly for me, and I encourage you, whatever you do in terms of nutritional support, look for research. There are things, advertising or sponsoring podcasts, putting a commercial on TV, and people are thinking because something is positive is being said that it does good things. But more often than not, it does not. It does not even have the same ingredients. That's a whole thing that Oprah studied years ago with Consumer Labs, testing nutritional products for, do they have the ingredients that they say on the label? And of 230 she tested, only 7 matched. So this research is a way to ensure you're getting something in your body, you're spending your money well. It's working. And so I love that this company literally turns the product over to independent research institutions like Yale, like I mentioned, MD Anderson. They're worldwide, and they're studying all sorts of things. What does this product do in the body? And you see some of the benefits here, right? Antioxidant protection, that's aging, that's resting of our bodies. Better cognitive function, healthier skin, again, beauty from the inside out. Immune function, heart health, inflammatory markers being reduced, less inflammation in the body. That's like fire, starting illness and disease. So for me, this was a peace of mind that it makes sense to start this. The research supports its benefits. And here we are 18 years later. I can honestly say thriving as a family, our story personally, but those 3 kids that grew up taking Juice Plus in 18 years have had zero sick doctor visits. We've had maybe 1 prescription I got for a bug bite. I think I had 1 sick doctor visit. That's the power of good foundational nutrition. And all these other things are like icing on the cake. But in my opinion, Juice Plus is the foundation that every one of us need, that becomes the catalyst especially through the education the company offers, an event similar to this, where you begin to learn the power of food, right? And fueling your body to live well. And so the last thing I want to say on that is the impact on children's health, because our future generation is everything. The company has a program called Healthy Starts for Family. So if anybody is interested in this, it allows an adult order of any of those essentials in capsule, chewable, or super powder form, to sponsor a child for a free supply of the fruit and vegetables in capsule or chewable form. And so this is a way to get 20 different fruits and vegetables into a child's diet. The child only needs to be 4 and can continue receiving it free through their 25th year. So 25 years of free juice. No, I did that math wrong. 21 years of free Juice Plus. Imagine that is how you change statistics. That is how we begin to reverse these trends in diabetes and everything else that we see children struggling with. And our family is a walking billboard for this. Not only 60% or 66% reduction in doctor visits, we're probably 95%. Taking less over-the-counter and prescription drugs, consuming less fast food. Food is so powerful in the body, and I love that we are supporting future generations and helping them to get healthy. So bottom line, that's a lot in a short amount of time. I hope, again, you picked up a few great tips. I want to offer some additional resources that I can provide for you. I do send out a weekly Wellness Wednesday text message. So if you just want little random health tips like some of the ones I shared today, you can scan this QR code here, and it's going to auto-populate my contact information. So you'll have my email, you'll have my phone number, send me a text, send me an email, and just let me know. I can also get you recipes. I can help you if you'd like to create some meal prep event ideas or workshops in your area. Also we've been doing Gut Health and Sourdough workshops. I have like 6 scheduled next month. That is a huge thing, and gut health is such an important topic. So that's something else that I do regularly. Because of all the research on Juice Plus, so many doctors recommend it to their patients that you don't have to just listen to me. You can hear the medical professionals in often webinar or live event and or opportunities to hear their thoughts and tips on living healthy. It's all about not lifespan, but health span. And so, of course, too, if you want to get started on Juice Plus, that is the number one thing I would recommend for everybody, because that's the simplest thing, the habit that you can adopt that will lead to all these other great things. So I hope this has been impactful and beneficial for you. I thank you so much for tuning in. And I, again, want to thank the board for asking me to share today. And I hope you got some really great, valuable information that truly makes a difference in your family's future health. Take care, everyone. Thanks.